Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my second ever episode of Fun on Weekdays podcast. The intros apparently never get easier because this still feels super awkward to me. But today I am super excited to have a guest on here. But before we get started with that, I wanted to say thank you to everyone so much who has given me support. This just past week of my life, I feel like I've never been so emotional or grateful. I keep finding myself driving to this really sketchy little park in downtown Austin under these lights, turning on sad music and just crying every night, thinking about life and, I don't know, just being a weirdo. So I just wanted to say thank you because this wouldn't be possible without everyone.
You're making me cry.
Kennedy!
You're literally making me cry.
Oh my God.
Right now, Jenna.
You guys, I didn't even intro my guest, and she's sitting next to me on my bed.
I'm like
tearing up.
Yeah, I'm literally crying hearing you talk about it.
Oh,
keep going though. Keep going.
Okay, well, I guess this is a really good time for me to intro my first ever guest. I know she may be different than who you're expecting, because my original first guest was supposed to be Connor, but we decided we were gonna re-record. We recorded it really late, and we could do better. So I have Kennedy here. Great surprise for you, Kennedy Eurich. If you don't know her, Kennedy, take it away. I want you to give me your Kennedy-esque intro.
Okay. How's the best way that I say this? So, I'm a TikToker. If you don't know who I am, I'm pretty irrelevant. But just in case you were wondering, I'm a TikToker. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and by that I mean I'm like 35 minutes outside of Pittsburgh in the middle of nowhere. But that's,
everybody, you know, when people ask you where you're from, you just say the closest city that's like 30 minutes away. I say Cleveland, but I'm not really.
Literally.
Yeah.
And people be like, well, what borough in Pittsburgh are you from? I'm like, oh no, like, babe, I live next to cornfields, okay? It's just the only way on the map that I can explain to people where I live with like having to actually tell them my address,
So Kennedy's a TikToker, and that's how we met. Kennedy, it's actually her birthday next week, so we are celebrating a little early here in Austin, Texas. I convinced her to come down to Austin for the weekend, but it's crazy. We've known each other for maybe like a few months, but we didn't.
Yeah.
No,
I feel like almost a year. I feel like almost a year. I feel like it was like beginning like fall time last year when we like followed each other.
Yeah, I don't know when it was, but I remember you followed me back. I got the notification and I about shit myself.
You should post that video. Remember you posted that video being like trying to get all my favorite people to follow me back?
Yes.
I forget who asked me how we met.
And I was so like, cringy of me though. Now looking back, I'm like, wow, that was so
No,
weird.
but it works because I feel like you're friends with like everybody who was on that list.
Yeah.
Right?
It is true. It's something I like to call a little bit of manifestation.
Exactly. She did. She knew what she was doing. She knew what she was doing.
But we became friends through TikTok, and it's so weird that I feel like I know you so well, but we've never actually met until about a month and a half ago. We spent a weekend in New York City together, and that was the first time we've ever met in person.
I know, that was like, looking back on it, it was so terrifying to think about like being stuck in a hotel room with someone that you like never met. And like sometimes with online personalities, like you might think it's gonna like go so well, and then you meet in person and you're like, oh, okay, like this was kind of weird, kind of awkward. But me and Jenna's personalities, I feel like our energy matched each other. So like from the second you walked in the door, like it wasn't even like weird or awkward. It was like, come on in, like, because I got there a little bit before Jenna in New York. It was so much fun. So last minute too.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about that?
Yeah, okay, so this kind of like segues into my first topic that I even wanted to talk about, which was taking risks, because I feel like you're a great person to talk to about this. But, so Kennedy and I decided to go to New York City, literally, what was it, like 18 hours before our flight?
Not even 18 hours. Jenna, you texted me at like 6 p.m. and I left my house. Like you just threw that idea out there, like around 6 p.m. And I left my house to go to the airport, I think at like 4 a.m. or something like that. I got picked up.
Yeah.
So it was so quick.
So basically, I have this friend, his name is Connor Blakely, and this is so funny because I know he's going to be listening to this podcast, and
he's going to be so mad at us.
He's probably going to text me before he even listens to the rest of it and be like, don't ever bring up my name. But
yeah, me and Jenna are going to get ripped a new one for this one. Hey, if you're watching, hey, Connor, love you.
Yeah, speaking of, Connor's one of like the 12 Connors in my life, so I feel like I need to specify with the last name for that.
Jenna has so many Connors in her life. It's honestly exhausting. I feel like when we were in New York, you're like, this Connor, then that Connor, this Connor. I'm like, I can't even keep up with all the Connors.
I don't know what it is. My energy attracts like Connors. I got a whole ass roster.
It's funny that I attract men with C names. So it makes sense. Like all, like 3 or 4 of my last boyfriends all had C names or like a K name that sounded like a C.
Well,
name.
You know, it's better than attracting guys with J names because that's, you know.
The worst.
Absolute red flag right off the bat.
I feel like sometimes the C names can be just as bad, but they're underrated.
I don't have any experience. Oh, well, I guess I do have experience with C names now. Anyways, oh god,
that's off topic.
Yeah, that's a different time. But anyway, so our friend Connor Blakely was going. I saw that he was in New York City. He had texted me a few days prior that he sent me like a screenshot of Kennedy. He's like, "This girl's so funny. How do you know her? Are you friends with her?" And then I saw he was in New York City, and I'm like, oh, wait a damn minute. I'm going to take opportunity.
Jenna was like, let me finagle a trip to New York City for all of us.
Yeah, and he's all about making connections, and he's also, okay, Connor, I'm going to give you a plug right now, but he's really, really great at networking, and I think it's really interesting to hang out around people who have similar values and ambitions as you.
I look back at that New York trip, and I feel like it was a huge, like, that was a risk that, like, literally my dad threatened to kick me out of the house over it, like, long story short, because I literally told my parents, like, oh, I'm going to New York City, and my dad was like, with who? And I was like, basically, like, random people that I, like, have never met in real life.
Yeah.
Anything like that. And my dad was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, am I going to, like, have a house to live in when I get back here? But everything worked out for the best, and I think that was, like, a huge turning point in my career, honestly. Like, that was a risk.
Yeah.
That, looking back at it, I would have like a huge brand deal that was like on the line at that point. I would have never known how much that was worth if I didn't make the connections in New York that I did that weekend.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's really interesting to I mean, I already mentioned this like at the very beginning, but to hang out around people who kind of understand the world. I mean, not even the world,
it's just
but
different. It's a different
the experience
aspect
we're going through.
Yeah, people don't. Like, I obviously, like, I have my friends and stuff like that back home, but I can't really talk to them about certain things because they just won't understand, like, certain aspects of my life. You know what I mean? Like, as well as, like, you can, because you're living it with me. And I feel like we both have, like, such a rapid, kind of, like, following lately. And I feel like lately, stuff for us has just been, like, moving so fast.
Yeah.
I think that's why I was crying, like, whenever you did your intro.
Yeah, I think, and what we're referring to here is just, like, being in the social media sphere. I think that literally one day you could wake up and there's a huge opportunity, or I don't know, like, so many changes happen so rapidly, and sometimes it's hard to keep up with all the changes in your life. But also, too, going back to your point, you're from a really small town in Pennsylvania, and you didn't really travel a whole lot.
No, literally not at all for, like, the last month and a half.
Yeah, and taking those risks to, like, maybe spend a little more money to go travel with people,
and it was
putting yourself out there leads to
it.
so many opportunities. So, I also wanted to ask you what it's like being... So, Kennedy, I'm going to toot her own horn right now. This girl's about to hit 1 million followers on TikTok I don't even know. I'm going to give it like a month. And literally today, she just hit 100K on Instagram. If you're watching the video, I'm giving her a hug to celebrate her.
Yeah, Jenna just hugged me. I think that might have been like maybe the second time Jenna's put her hands on me.
Hey, you want me to... No, I'm just kidding. I was going to say, you want me to...
I almost kissed Jenna in New York City. We were like doing a video, and then I just lost myself in the sauce, and then I was like, wait a minute. Jenna was like, were you going to kiss me? I was like, I actually think I was like legitimately going to kiss you right there for a second.
Oh. I mean, do you want...
If you were watching the video, I mean, it made a lot more sense on video what we just did.
But anyways, being from a small town, what's it like having such a huge following, and how do people kind of take that? Because I know for me, I'm from a small town in Ohio too, and I can't ever imagine like still living in that town and trying to pursue a social media career, just because I think that there are maybe some limitations with that, but also too, I think that it also brings a sense of relatability that like you don't need to live in a big city. You don't need to like go out and join a content house or anything to become successful. And you know,
that's definitely something that I feel like I struggle with, like have this internal struggle of like I love where I live and love where I'm from, because I truly do love like that small town aspect of my life, just like living in the middle of nowhere. But at the same time, like I have this like struggle where I know like if I did move to a bigger city, there probably would be better opportunities for me, and I could kind of be a little bit, I feel like I'm pretty much myself and comfortable on the internet at this point. But I know, like, at the beginning of my TikTok career, which before I didn't even think it was ever going to be a career, which is crazy that it, rapidly turned into this.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like no one really suspects that it's, like, going to happen to them. Like, I used to always joke with people. They'd be like, what are you going to do when you grow up? And I was like, I'm going to be famous. And they'd be like, okay, Kenny, like, what are you really going to do? And that's kind of, like, a big reason why I went to community college, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to work an office job someday. And now I don't even think I could get hired in an office job if I wanted to. So maybe I played my cards right in a way. I'm just going to be a trophy wife if nothing works out for me.
Hey, you're on a good move, you guys. So Kennedy, we'll go back to it, but just a little because we're on the topic. But Kennedy has been in Austin, Texas for the weekend. And unfortunately, we didn't get her to ride a mechanical bull or a horse, but...
There's cowboys around too.
There are cowboys in the town. I don't know if they technically are considered cowboys if they're not originally from Texas, but
not from Texas.
We do have a prospect here.
Yeah, guys, I'm in love. I probably am gonna get married soon. So
yeah, and I do know that he will be listening to this episode too. So if he doesn't know how you feel about him, this is kind of
if you're watching this, I'm a ring size like 5.5. So.
Okay, me too.
Okay,
me too. Yeah,
we I don't even know if I could say it out loud.
Oh no, go ahead, say it. We're on.
I was gonna say we might be in each other's weddings. I think
honestly, yeah, probably.
We're me and Jenna are moving in together. Page. We're gonna have a huge family in one house. I think. With the way things are looking for me.
Yeah, which also looking at the window. So Kennedy and I are recording this podcast right now. We're supposed to go play pickleball with our future husbands.
It's pouring.
It's pouring rain.
It's pouring.
So maybe Kennedy's proposal will get postponed if we can't spend time with him tonight before
Jenna,
she leaves.
I don't care if the world's on fire. We're seeing those boys tonight.
Okay, well I guess I'll wear white purposely.
Yeah, for
rain.
Sure. Yeah, we gotta give him like a sexy white T-shirt moment. We're supposed to go swimming, eat some steaks. Now I don't know if that's gonna happen. This love fest, we might have to figure something else out.
I don't know. I've got hope that it'll pull through.
Yeah, I feel like the awesome weather might get sunny here pretty soon.
Going back to. Oh my gosh, what were we talking about? I feel like it's so hard for me and Kennedy to have a streamlined conversation.
It goes this way, that way, this way. Like, we're all over the place.
Yeah, and we both talk so fast that maybe we'll even have to have
them slow it down a little bit.
Slow it down. Slow-mo. Okay, so, Kennedy, a lot of people that follow me are, a lot of people who are maybe in high school right now or going into college or in college. And I even have, quite a few older people who follow me as well. But I think one common question that's asked is people that are in school and they're really busy with schoolwork and they're outside of jobs, how do you keep yourself busy and have fun, especially living in a small town because obviously, there's not as many things to do in a city like Austin. So I'm curious how you have fun on your weekdays.
To be honest with you, I feel like the last year of my life has changed, so much. Just, I went through a phase where I basically isolated myself from absolutely everyone. Last summer, up until basically, this summer, I had isolated myself from everyone, decided I wanted to work on myself, become my own best friend. That is the best advice I can give anyone, is to work on yourself and become your own best friend, because you know that you won't just, you know yourself. You know how to love yourself, take care of yourself, and I won't disappoint myself. So I feel like the last year has been all about relying on myself. And once I got to a good place with that, in May, I started hanging around friends again, and that's kind of how I found my roommates and stuff like that. One of my roommates that I'm moving in with is a girl that I went to high school with, and we were really good friends in high school and then hadn't spoken. And I feel like that was a friendship that didn't really do that well when we were in high school and had ups and downs because we were both just at different places. And I think getting away, going to school, we both worked on ourselves so much, and now we sit there in peace. And we used to fight all the time in high school. Now we went to IKEA together the other day to furniture shop, and we're just looking at each other in the car. We're like, this is nice. We're not crazy anymore. Neither of us are crazy people anymore. So
I was gonna ask you too, do you think that how have your friendships changed since growing a platform? Do you think that people treat you differently now? Because I've noticed, and this is nothing against anyone, and I think that also too, having a platform that I'm so candid and I really show who I truly am has allowed people to see a different side of me. But I think it's really interesting that people who I know for a fact did not like me in college and I would hear talk badly about me or whatever, or people that didn't know me in high school and probably had assumptions about me, are now the people who are messaging me and being so supportive. And I think it's really crazy to see the switch. And I don't think it's necessarily that people are treating me any differently just because I'm being, I'm being successful right now, but rather just they see a different side of who I am because of it.
Who you were. Yeah, exactly.
I feel especially for you, you're so candid on TikTok. How does that come for you? No, I love it. And also too, you're the exact same person in person that you are on TikTok too.
That's the biggest compliment was when people say that to me. When they meet me and they're you're exactly how you are online, and I never would have thought, because sometimes it's hard. Same to you though. You're the same exact person you portray yourself to be online, and that's so refreshing to be around people who are exactly who they say they are. Because not that I've really had any bad experiences with that, but I just feel as you get bigger and grow in this industry, you realize that a lot of people are not. Even when I went to Miami, that was the week of the fight night or whatever for TikTokers.
Oh yeah,
and I saw so many popular TikTokers that I was just Oh, you give me the worst vibes. The
Ooh.
worst vibes.
Sounds like we have some tea.
Drama. No, but there was this one boy there actually in Miami who had followed me on TikTok for like a year. We Snapchatted maybe 3-4 days or something like that. Nothing crazy. But he was in Miami and he was walking around drunk like a zombie.
No way.
Like honestly, I feel like there were drugs involved. And we were outside this like I think it was a London.
Is it somebody that I would know? Is it like a big TikTok guy?
He was like in a big TikTok house, but no one like knows who he is. That's the thing that's weird. It's like I feel like nobody knows who he is.
Okay.
But he has like millions of followers.
So he wasn't in Sway House.
No, not Sway.
Okay.
Not saying other names, but not Sway.
Quick plug. I have to say, I kind of have a crush on Josh Richards lately. Like, I don't know what it...
Oh,
dude.
Josh Richards DM'd me.
No way.
Literally,
oh, here we go. This is the juicy stuff. This is what I've been waiting for, Kennedy.
I need to go get my phone. He literally DM'd me and said, hey. And I responded, oh my God, is this a prank? And he never responded back to me.
Well, that's ridiculous.
That was probably 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It was like, I feel like it was right after we got back from New York because I told my brother, I was like crapping my pants. I was like, dude, I'm going to marry Josh Richards now.
Yeah.
Because I really ran with that one. But no, I'm never going to respond. I don't even know if he read it yet. So.
Interesting.
I'm butthurt about it. Josh Richards, if you ever hear about this, go screw yourself. No, I'm just messing. I'm just fine.
No.
I'm all about second chances, Josh Richards.
Okay, I'm just going to say, I like Josh because I think, I mean, him and his new podcast with Dave Portnoy, I think it's funny. But also, I really respect the fact that he's starting that, like, venture capital. What? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, what's he doing?
He's basically starting this business that teaches Gen Z people how to invest their money into different businesses and stuff like that. And I think it's really inspiring that he's not just taking his platform, you know, he's doing something with it.
One thing I've realized about Jenna, she's like the most motivated person I've ever met.
Oh,
like Jenna is so like surrounds herself, I feel like, with such motivating people and inspiring people, and Jenna just like feeds off of that. So like I feel like anyone that you build relationships with, it's because like you guys have like something in common. Like you love like you're like the most motivating person that I know. Like you work so hard. I even told Jenna this, like her resume I feel like is so impressive. Like when I was listening to the last one, I kind of knew about your resume because I saw your viral TikTok when it came out like last year. Yeah. But then listening to you talk about all that, I was like, you've accomplished so much. Like when you were my age, you were literally like going to New York City for a semester or Austin, Texas or whatever. Like you were doing so much when you were my age. Like, and it honestly is like you inspire me in that way that I feel like you work so hard.
Yeah.
And it's paid off. Obviously,
thank you.
It's paid off.
I think sometimes it's kind of weird. I mean, obviously the first episode of the podcast, I went into a really deep dive of all of my history. And I think before that, you know, people saw the TikTok and they might have known, but they didn't really know. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I kind of forget to credit myself.
I didn't realize like how
it's not easy to just like compliment yourself. You
know
what I mean?
Well, if you're a Leo, maybe like me, I beat myself up all day. No, but like I don't know. I definitely feel like I didn't see that side of you like online, like how motivated and how much work you put into everything you do. But when I met you in New York, I remember like when we were sitting down in Little Italy, like I just remember you talking about like everything you were working on and like your dreams and aspirations, and I was like, damn, like this girl has it all like figured out. Like she knows where she wants to be in life. Like I want to be like that to the point where I'm like, I want this, I know I want that. Like you're doing such crazy things, I feel like. And even like for your following, like I feel like you're like farther ahead of me though in your life, like with your following. You've branded yourself so well, Jenna. So well. It's crazy.
Thank you. Well, this podcast wasn't supposed to be about me. This was supposed to be your
podcast.
About
Jenna today.
This was supposed to be your podcast, Kennedy. I mean, even you've grown so much too. Because, okay, so something about TikTok, I think, is that there's so much opportunity to make money. And people are always so curious about what it's like to have brand deals and stuff. And so when I first met Kennedy, we were working with some of the same brands. I had literally maybe a fourth of her following.
This is how I found out that I was getting screwed over.
Yeah, and we were talking about like how much we were charging for posts and stuff like that. And I was getting paid probably like
way more than me.
5 times what you were making.
Like I remember like Jenna being like, how much did this brand pay you? And I was like, Jenna, I didn't get anything. I got like free products. She was like, you're joking. I was like, no, I'm being dead serious.
Yeah.
Right now. Dead serious. And that was when I realized, like, okay, this social media stuff can be a career if you want it to be. You just need to kind of be motivated enough to find the right people to bring that stuff, like, help you. Because I feel like it's hard to do it all alone. You know what I mean? Like, I could never have done the things in the last month if I didn't have a team behind me who believed in me just as much as I believed in them. And I've realized, like, even working with brands and stuff like that, it's so important. Like, I feel like all your the biggest brand deals always come from brands who have to believe in you. Like, with totally. Steve Madden, like, that was a brand who I think really put themselves out there for me and believed in me and then good things happened because they believed in me and believed in who I was and liked my content. Like, has this ever happened to you? I'm not sure, because you don't get crazy raunchy, on your TikTok. But
I try not to. So my last podcast, my parents, my grandma, like a lot of people.
Like text your grandma.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my grandma's probably listening to this episode as well too. And I've decided, my parents are like, Jenna, you gotta stop swearing. I'm like,
I've been there, done that. I've heard that one too before.
Yeah, but no, I don't think that your TikTok is raunchy in any way.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think it's raunchy. Raunchy is a completely different word than, like, unapologetic.
Okay.
I would describe you as unapologetic.
I like that.
And just, like, outspoken, which is just your character. That's just who you are.
Right.
But also, too, to your point, yeah, brands know kind of what they're dealing with. They have to believe it. They have to give you full reign, knowing, like, okay, we want to do a partnership with you, but they need to give us full reign to make the kind of content that we know our audience is going to want to watch.
And that's what I don't understand. Like, I've been reached out to so many brands that are like, we love you, we love your content, but in the guidelines, no swearing, no this, no that. It's like, you don't like me. Like, Squatty Potty was like one of my first sponsorships and one of the most amazing people that I've worked with, because they said, do whatever you want. Like, you know your audience. We hired you because we love you. If we wanted just someone to sit there and read a script, we would just hire an actor to do that. And I think that's so important to work with brands who, like, understand your content and let you create. Because after all, you are a content creator. Like, that's why you have a following. You obviously know what you're doing. So when brands kind of give you this weird format, it makes it so difficult. And I don't understand it ever.
Yeah, I completely agree. When brands come to me and they have, like, a script that they want me to follow, it almost makes me unmotivated to want to do the actual video, because I'm like, there's no creativity there. Yeah. And all of our best videos are the ones that you never expect to blow up.
Right.
Oh, shit.
That is my birth control.
Oh!
We might take that today.
Yeah, you really got to take that today. Wait, speaking of which, kind of about being so unapologetic on TikTok, are you ever afraid of being canceled? And also,
so bad.
I know that people are very critical, and so a lot of people have DM'd me, because when I said that you were going to be my guest, people wanted to know how you stay so confident and how you take criticism. So the first question is around being, like, cancel culture and stuff like that.
I just think cancel culture in general is dumb. Like, honestly, this is going to get me canceled. Me saying this right now, I'm calling it out, I'm getting canceled. But I just think we've come, like, to a society, I feel like, in a way of making, I don't know how to say it, like, some things that are totally unintentional that people do, and made them a bigger deal than they are. So when people actually do things they deserve to be, quote unquote, canceled on, they don't take it seriously. There's so many big influencers that are huge, have gotten canceled so many times. It's because it started out with, like, little tiny things, and now when they're actually doing stuff and have, like, a past or whatever that maybe deserves to be canceled, they don't take it seriously, because it's kind of been made out to be a joke. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like at first there was good intentions with it, like holding people accountable, but now I feel like people switch up holding accountable with straight up bullying. And, like, I remember when Nessa Barrett was, like, getting a lot of hate at one point. This was before the Josh Richard stuff and all that, before all that happened. But, like, I remember, like, last summer, people were telling her to go off or something, just, like, crazy, terrible things. And it's like, you are just as bad, if not worse, than the stuff that she's done. Like, you think that you're, like, high and mighty. I just feel like it's a control thing too sometimes. Like, people want to have a control over their favorite influencers. I'm saying depending on what someone's being canceled on. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen people get canceled for, like, I don't even know, silly things. I can't even think of, like, a good excuse.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, like, so for me, I've made videos before, and we're both very sarcastic.
And sarcasm gets you in trouble, let me tell you.
Yeah, I think that sometimes it's really hard to understand someone's character through a 30 to 60 second TikTok, and you can take a joke out of context
completely
and, like, be offended by it, and then once one person is offended, other people
jump on it too.
Yeah,
that's a good point, because I made a joke about, oh my gosh, even if I'm ugly, I still got an any coochie, and you can't take that away from me. It was a joke. It was a joke. All coochies are beautiful. It was just funny because I'd seen, like, people hyping up any coochies, okay? That was all it was. It's supposed to be silly, humorous. Then all of a sudden people are like, oh, so you think body shaming's cute? I was like, dude, I didn't even mention Audi vajayjays. Like, I think all vajayjays are beautiful, but that was just me flexing that I knew I had a cute vajayjay. And people, like, took it the wrong way. I was like, I need to take this video down ASAP, because I didn't want people getting the impression that I was trying to put down other vajayjays. You know, that's so ridiculous. That's so ridiculous to think about, but it's true. I was like, no, okay, that was a moment, yeah, where like I felt like I was almost on the verge of like being like canceled over something that was totally, and like I feel like sometimes when you post something like that, to me wasn't even thinking like I'm body shaming or putting anyone else down. That to me was just like being a little funny like joke to myself about, yeah, I might be ugly, but I got a nice coochie. And, you know, it just gets taken the wrong way, especially when people don't really know you. I can see, like, why certain videos get taken the wrong way.
I kind of almost had, like, a cancel moment myself. So, I'm in this Facebook group.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, wait. So let me tell the story. So, oh, gosh. I remember, like, the absolute fear that came across me. Like, my heart was racing. I've never had so much adrenaline and, like, fear in my life. So, I'm always very conscious of, like, what I put out on the internet. There are some things that I am so candid and open about.
We have a problem with oversharing on this.
Yeah,
100%.
Because I think it's so easy to forget that, like,
you have a platform.
Yeah.
Like, I think about these people as, like, my friends. I'm just telling my closest friends. Like, you forget that people have bad intentions when watching your videos or don't always know you or will do things. Because I know you've had people, like, go off and DM people, guys that you've dated, and, like, just... You know, you forget that people...
Oh, that's weird, too. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
But so what had happened was... I'm in this Facebook group that I had been in for almost a year now. So basically, I'm not going to like say any names or anything, but it's just a Facebook group that talks about TikTok drama and talks about like their favorite creators and like new videos and asking each other questions, stuff like that. And basically, I had made a video about Victoria Paris. I had duetted her, and I had said that I think that her approach to TikTok and I think she called it cross-pollination, which like marketing her YouTube videos and her Instagram and her outfit details and stuff by increasing her engagement through TikTok.
Which is true, though. She did a great job with that, though.
Yeah. And so I made a video about that, and that video had ended up on this Facebook page, and all of the comments were kind of, I mean, they were defending me. They're like, I love Jenna, but I just don't agree with whatever. You know, people all have their own opinions, and I think once one person voices theirs, everyone
kind of dogpiles on.
Yeah, which is what we already said. But so there was one comment from a girl that said, "Oh my God, I absolutely cannot stand Jenna." Something about like she triggers me every time I see her video on my For You page. I had to block her. But it's so funny because nobody realized that I'm in this Facebook group because I just kind of keep quiet, you know. And so for me, like, my way that I take criticism or people being kind of rude is just by being nice back or turning it into, like, a witty comeback, you know?
Right.
Because what are they going to do? Be mean to someone who's being nice to them, you know?
Yeah.
So my response, I commented back to her, and I said, don't worry, girl, I would block myself, too. And that was so truthful. Like, I did not take that to heart at all. I know for a fact that there are plenty of people out there that think I am so annoying.
Yeah, I don't even like to think about that, but I know there's so many people that hate me out there and like, see my videos like, I can't stand this girl. I'm like, okay, well, that sucks for you then.
I think I'm annoying too sometimes. Like,
yeah, no, I feel like I hear my videos back and I'm like, no wonder I get hate comments.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like sometimes you need to think about like, I truly imagine the people that sit down and write out these comments. Like, I have never... Maybe once or twice I've been triggered to, like, leave a hate comment. Yeah. Never. Like, I just think it's so... The idea of getting behind there and, like, putting your time and energy into me because you think I'm annoying says so much more about you than it does about me.
Yeah. So, I made a joke about it. I truthfully thought that it was funny that she'd said that. And then all these people in the Facebook group chat were, like... were liking my comment and laughing at it. And they're like, oh, my God, this is hilarious. Didn't realize she was in here. She could see it. And seriously, no hard feelings. I made a TikTok about it, and I didn't cross out her name, which, like, that was my bad. I truthfully, because I wasn't offended by it, I didn't think anything of it. Like, if I'm not going to be offended, why would anybody else? It's not directed towards them. Yeah. And then I also shared, like, the name of the Facebook group, which I didn't realize was confidential, I guess. And so then I go out, you know, like, I forget that I post this TikTok video, and I'm out at a bar with my friends. We were just having a girls' night, and I get this DM on Instagram, and she's like, girl, I cannot believe that everyone's canceling you right now.
You're like, whoa.
And I'm like, whoa.
Where did you get this from?
And I thought she was referring to the initial comment of the girl saying that I was annoying. I'm like, oh, no, it's no big deal, whatever. And she's like, no, they're posting about you on the page. And so then I go back and I read it, and people were really, really upset that I had shared her name and, like, also the privacy of the group.
But here's the thing with that, though. Like, I don't understand how people can like, this is where I get angry. And, like, I feel like Jenna's, like, a nicer person than I am in ways. Whereas, like, if you're going to publicly, I don't care if it's a private Facebook group, You're a grown adult. You know there's going to be consequences. There has to be consequences for actions. I don't know why people think they can get on there and just be hurtful and rude and think that they don't deserve a response back. Like, the reason why you leave, and that's what I realized, people leave hate comments not so you necessarily see them. They want other people to see them and be like, oh, I like that. Like, I get comments all the time and be like, oh my gosh, I thought I blocked this girl. She's so annoying. I go, and they still haven't blocked me. They just say it for other people's validation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. I do understand, though, why they were upset. So, like, in that moment, it takes being called out, and this is where I'm going back to the canceling thing, is that it takes being called out sometimes for you to realize that your actions are, like, wrong. And then at that point, you take accountability, you apologize like the mature person that you are. And that's where, like, growth comes from. And so for that, I literally typed out this super long, extensive apology, and I was like, yeah, this was wrong of me. Thank you for calling me out on that because it brought attention to it, whatever. But that was really kind of the only, I mean, for the most part, I think that I provide a pretty positive space. So it would be hard for people to feel inclined to be rude. But every once in a while, you do get those comments or people that are talking down to you. And instead of letting it affect me, I just think, okay, well, you know what? They are taking time out of their day to leave this comment. So
no, but
it means more about them than it does about me. So.
I agree what you say with, like, sometimes you do need to be called out. Like, there have been times where, like, I will take it to the grave that I don't think I did anything wrong. Mm-hmm. But there's been other times where, like, people come up and be like, okay, Kennedy, this was, like, more mean than being witty or silly. Like, this did come across, like, as mean girl energy, and I have to be like, okay, right, like, you know what? Like, my feelings were hurt. I let my feelings take the best of me, and really, I did feed into your game. And then I'll, like, kick myself for it and be like, dude, you made yourself look so bad by doing that. And it is nice. I feel like sometimes you really do need to be called out. And, you know, so you can be like, it's a reality check. It's a reality check.
Yeah, but I also do think that people grow, and people are not the same people that they were in high school or years ago. And
I'm not even the same person I was last year. Like, that whole year being by myself and working on myself, I am, like, and that's even, like, with all my, like, friends that I've kind of rekindled my friendship with, they're all like, you are not the same person that I used to know. Like, you're a completely different person. I really worked on myself, and I don't know. Like, that's what's so embarrassing is, like, I don't want anyone going around, like, if you think you know me, you probably don't, to be honest with you. You don't know anything about me. I have done a 180. I've changed my life completely, like,
yeah. So I think for anybody who's listening and you feel like maybe you're trapped by the person that people in your hometown think you are or who you used to be, like, there's always an opportunity to grow and to make the conscious decision that, like, you want to be someone else. Like, and I think that when you live in the same place, it is kind of hard to escape that, because when people know you a certain way or you grew up with them, it's kind of hard to reinvent yourself. And for me, I think that's where Austin kind of came in, that like I said in my first podcast, that I live this kind of double life where nobody knew me before I moved here. So I was able to completely start over. And the person that I portrayed myself in Austin doesn't have to have any tie to maybe who I was in high school, which, I mean, everybody in high school, you make mistakes, you say rude things, you're insecure, or, like, even people just grow over time. But I'm curious how you kind of handle that being in a small town where...
Honestly, I feel like no one ever says anything to your face. So, like, I know for sure, like, even now, like, I know people send my TikToks around, probably make fun of me, but, like, at the same time, at the end of the day, I have to know, like, you would be doing the same thing if you could, probably. Like, and anyone can, but I'm just saying, like, if you had the chance and you started making videos and put yourself out there and, you know, you started getting a following from it, even though it might be embarrassing sometimes to talk about, like, I think anyone would take that opportunity and run with it. And, like, I think one thing that's really weird, this kind of happened, I think this was, like, back in May. This was one of those moments where you talked about, like, being held accountable for. I made a joke, like, about, okay, so basically there was this, like, picture that I joked about me wearing a Trump shirt back in 2016. And to me in the moment, you know, I just thought it was me being funny, like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing, like, and then people were like, no, like, this, like, isn't really something to joke about. Like, you know, this affected, like, people, like, minorities, everything. And that was one of those situations where it's like, wow, that was so ignorant. Like, I remember even in the comments, like, being like, no, like, it's a joke, take a joke, take a joke. And then after I kept on receiving comments, it really made me sit down and think about, you know, just because it's not a big deal to me and necessarily my intentions were pure whenever I posted it thinking it was funny, it was like, this has a much bigger effect. And, like, it's all about learning. Like, that was a moment that I had to be called out on my BS in order to learn and grow from it. And now I'm like, I understand why those jokes, like, those aren't jokes, you know, because they actually do affect and harm people. But I remember, like, when that happened, some girl made a video kind of about that, and then in the comments, because someone tagged me in it, some girl who was years older than me in high school, like I want to say 4 years older than me in high school, went to a neighboring high school, didn't even go to my high school. I do not know this girl. I kind of knew her younger sister just through social media, but did not know her. She commented on some girl's post about me, saying that I was a terrible person, a mean girl, everyone knew it. I didn't know this girl, Jenna. Never met this girl, never even really had talked to her sister. The only interaction I'd ever had with this girl was my friend got a kitten from her. Literally, so crazy. My friend got a kitten.
I'm like sitting here, where are we going with this story? Can it be, sometimes you guys...
I get off track, sorry.
Sometimes she literally talks like an auctioneer, and I have to...
People are like slowing this down right now, like reversing it.
Yeah, and every time I talk back to you now, I'm trying to talk a little slower to slow you down.
Sorry, guys.
We're getting on with the kitten. I'm like, where are we going, Kennedy?
Well, let me just say, only interaction I had with this girl was she had given my friend a kitten. We met at the parking lot of one of my old jobs. We did this cat handoff that was last year. That was it. Only interaction I had with this girl. But she doesn't even know me, and she went on a public space writing that I'm a mean girl. Everyone knows I'm a terrible person. I was like, whoa, what? Like, that's just what I mean. Like, that's the hardest part, I think, about social media, is people can say whatever they want, and if people don't like you or they pick up a bad vibe once or twice, and let me just say, everybody has bad days. And when you're constantly content creating, especially to the point where I am now, my income now depends on creating content. So even on some days where I am having a bad day and maybe just need like a mental health day, I'm still like that motivation that's like, no, you need to post, you need to get content out there today.
Yeah.
And you might give someone the wrong vibe, and then they see that comment and they're like, you know what? Yeah, she's always giving. I don't like the vibe that she gave, and it snowballs, and people don't really know you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
think it's really interesting too, especially like our audience. I think is really, really invested in our lives, and it's like very engaging because we're very much open with our lives, so people are able to kind of follow everything that happens to us. And I think it's really interesting for me, especially this past month. I've just been going through it. I mean, there have been so many changes in my life recently.
I feel like the month of June was like, June and July were like the biggest months of my 2021.
And I think it's really interesting when people can actually call out the difference in my mood through my videos. And even I don't recognize it sometimes, and they'll be like, Jenna, girl, you okay?
Yeah,
like,
right. I'll get comments like that, and it feels like so good in a way to know that like you guys, I don't know, like you have built such a relationship with these people that they're like, something's off, like your energy in this video, like I just feel like you're sad, something's not right. It is. I love having moments like that where people like can kind of pick up, because it makes me be like, oh, I really built a relationship with these people.
Yeah. So I think my key takeaway from that entire conversation is, number one, you don't have to live in a big city to be able to have this type of opportunity to like do social media, if that's something that you're interested in, because people always ask, how do you get into it? So you don't need to live somewhere crazy. Second thing is, you don't have to move to a new city to reinvent yourself. Like, you can constantly grow and learn new things, but with that, it takes time, accountability, and time.
Yeah, taking accountability for sure. Like, I had to look back at my past and be like, I was a toxic person. Like, I did treat people poorly sometimes, you know? And I always look back and be like, it was always the people that I loved most that I was treating poorly. If any random stranger says that I was mean to them, they're lying unless they left a hate comment.
That's so interesting you say that, because I feel like it's almost a lot easier to
hurt the people you love.
Yeah, because you take your relationships with them for granted because you know them so well that you are giving yourself an excuse to not treat them as best as you can. Like,
exactly.
I've taken a step back lately, and I've been like, wow, I've really been taking some of my closest friendships for granted, and sometimes I just don't vocalize how appreciative I am of the people in my life that have, like, so much has happened in this past year, and a huge amount of it is accredited to the people that I've surrounded myself with, and those same people I always forget to kind of
thank too at the same time. It is. It's so easy to like turn on the people you love. And that's what I mean. Like, I'm always like, I look back at all through high school. Like, I was never just randomly mean to someone I didn't know. It was always people that I had built relationships with and thought that they were going to be around forever. And then it took like me and one of my best friends. I was literally friends with her since like we were probably like 10, and we stopped being friends last summer. And that was what took me, like, I wanted to leave all my social media and just work on myself, because I realized as that friendship was ending, don't worry, we definitely like outgrew each other, and it wasn't one person I think over another. But I definitely think that was a situation that made me realize, like, I do treat people poorly sometimes. Like, I need to kind of get it together and work on myself and becoming a better person. And then better things followed me after that. I feel like once you work on yourself, things are only going to go up in your life.
100%.
And surrounding yourself with good people. Like, I've realized that, too, like, how important it is to surround yourself. I feel like even though there's certain relationships that I've wanted to last forever, like with boys and stuff like that in my life, and ending it felt like the biggest heartache of my entire life. But I also realized those people are holding you back, and you need to like
100%.
let go of that negative energy in order to grow and become a better person. And just, I don't know.
Sometimes I too think that it takes you to meet someone new for you to see like that the things that you were missing in your life.
Oh,
you know,
for
because
sure.
like I've had new people recently in my life who have brought a different perspective, and prior to that I would have thought that like the boys that I had dated or the guys that I had talked to
were like the only boys you would ever find. Like
yeah,
and
then you don't
totally.
realize like, oh, that relationship didn't work out because like this is what was missing from it. But you have to find what you were missing from somebody else in order to see, oh, you know.
Agree.
But yeah, going into like boys, because I think that we just had enough of a motivational speech.
Yeah, you guys, this was like 40 minutes of a motivation. If you're not motivated after this, I don't know what to tell you.
I know.
Get Connor Stanley. No, I'm just kidding. Cut that part out. Cut that part out.
He'll be in the next one.
He's the most motivational speaker you'll ever meet in your entire life, people.
Honestly, he is pretty
He is
good.
He should really look into a living for that. Sure.
He basically does. But anyways, I want to talk to you about your boy situation. So Kennedy, Eurich, tell me. So first of all, being on TikTok, we talk about our lives so openly, and the thing that people are the most invested in is literally my dating life.
Yeah, no,
it's so funny to me because it's like I could post a picture with a guy. This is funny. Yesterday we were on a boat, and I posted a picture with my friend Mike on my Instagram story. Don't be jealous, Kennedy. He's just my friend.
So that's Jenna.
And people were replying with eyeball emojis. They're like, "Oh my God, Jenna, who is this?" And I think it's funny that people are so invested in it. And I love to share it.
To reach out to them too.
Yes. Oh my God. One time I was talking about a guy that I liked on my TikTok live, and I was talking about like how I met him. I never said his name, I don't think.
And it's because people do the Instagram safari. They probably looked at who you were last interacting with.
This is my fault, and if he's listening to this, like I'm gonna own up to it right now. But I did flash like a half-second Snapchat of him. I did show his face a little bit, but then somebody went and made an anonymous
that's so
Instagram account and DM'd him and said, "Hey, Jenna P is talking about you on TikTok Live. She really likes you. Seems like she's a little obsessed." And I'm like,
that
"Oh my
so
God,
weird.
leave me alone."
Mind your business. That's what I mean. Like I feel like it's like lives are always where stuff goes bad. With my last relationship,
oh my God.
I was in a relationship with a guy for 2 years. Basically, short story. I was in a relationship for 2 years with a guy, and then at right around the 2-year mark, I was on live. I didn't say anything about his family. Okay, that's a real mark. I never said anything about his family.
Yeah, people want to know about the ex-boyfriend tea. A lot of people DM me asking if you could talk about it.
Well,
yeah.
In quick words.
Summarize it, though.
Summarizing, because I usually go into like 10 details that nobody cares about.
Kennedy actually told me the entire story while I was blow drying my hair yesterday.
Yeah,
it took about 20 minutes, and the blow dryer goes on, and I'm like, I see her mouth just babbling, and I know half of the words are probably just like filler words.
Definitely.
So
yeah, you said that. You said I just pick up on a couple words that you said.
Yeah, I take up the keywords, and then I make a conclusion of.
But you're like, you got
everything.
the complete wrong story.
So think in your head right now of your conclusion. There's so many pieces
of the story. As quick, it's just so hard too. Like I feel like you have to over-explain being on the internet. Because so many people, like, if you don't explain one little aspect, people will try to call you out and be like, well, what about this? And, like, it's like, okay, I didn't have time to say that in the podcast. Yeah. So, take this with a grain of salt, absolute bare minimum details. His family had thought that I was talking smack on them on my live, which had never happened. I just said that they didn't like me, which was a fact. Let me think for a second, because I want to make this really quick. I had not said anything. I went on live that night, asked the people if I had said anything wrong. They said no, because I said hold me accountable if I did. Fast forward, he's...
Accountable queen.
Accountable queen. I want to take accountability. Everyone was like, no, you didn't say anything. Like, where's this coming from? So, basically, then the next day I was on live again, and they were like, well, what's going to happen? Like, his sisters were talking smack. Like, what's going to happen when you see them in real life? Me being super sarcastic, and if you knew me from 2020, like summer 2020 when I first gained a following, my whole entire brand was being sarcastic. Like, literally like Jenna. Just like Jenna. Just got away. And this was what I think turned me away from the sarcasm. Like, I still do the sarcasm every once in a while, but this was a traumatizing situation. So, I sarcastically said, I don't know, I'd probably bully them. Keep in mind, these girls are a year and like 3 years younger than me. That's it. Like, I couldn't really realistically bully them. You know, it's not like they were 6 years old, okay? Anyways. They basically, his family didn't like that comment, and I will not apologize. I am not sorry. No, cut that out, actually.
No, we're keeping that in.
I'm not sorry. Okay. Anyways, his family didn't like the comment. Basically said, break up with her, else you're getting kicked out. Everything, like your tuition's done being paid for, your phone's going away. So we stopped talking for 2 weeks. then off and on for like literally the last year, like our 3rd year of our relationship was all hidden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's hard too.
Yeah, no, not good. I've realized that was so bad for my mental health. I was like low-key living in like my own little personal hell.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's all about like love language. I show people I love them by showing them on social media, by talking about them. Like, I'm so excited to share that aspect of my life.
Yeah, because I feel like especially when you have such a supportive community behind you.
Like, it's not like I'm doing lip-syncing videos. No offense to people who do. But it's like people genuinely care about like me as a person and what I'm doing in my life.
Yeah, and so for you to share a person that you're dating with such a huge community, I feel like is a really big step in a relationship.
It is. It's huge. And like the fact that we'd already been together, it wasn't like this was some new boyfriend. Yeah. This was someone who like I had shown on my TikTok for like a short little time period, and that I don't know, that I just like loved so much. I truly thought I was gonna marry this person. So I feel like, but now I'm I feel like you slowly start to realize, everything happens for a reason.
I was gonna say that too, how being on TikTok has affected like our dating lives. So for me, one of my biggest icks that I've recently discovered
I can't wait to hear. I don't even know what you're gonna say.
Oh, just wait for it. So every time I don't know why this always happens, but every time I meet a new guy and they ask me, oh, so what do you do? And I say, oh, I work at TikTok. It's always the question of, oh, what do you do? Like dance? And then they downplay this whole idea of like, oh, you work at TikTok. And then once I say, no, I that's what I do actually. But I also do TikToks on the side. Then when they ask how many followers you have, or they'll pull up your TikTok in front of you and they'll watch videos in front of you. And then the worst part is when they always deflect every single part of their conversation back to you having
social media,
having followers. Yeah. Right. So most recently I went on this date when I was in Chicago with Connor, and oh my god, this is so funny because I was like with Connor and we were at dinner and I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna go on a date. I don't think he liked that. I don't know.
Connor's jealous.
I don't know.
I'm just kidding, Connor, if you're watching this.
I went on a date and he I don't know, like everything that he said went back to me being on TikTok, and I'm like, that is the least interesting thing about me.
I totally
like get to know me more. That's all
totally
that's saying to me is that you're number one probably insecure about the fact that like I have a voice that like
like, are you scared of me? Like, do you think I'm gonna like why are you keep up? I agree,
or
I think my TikTok is the least interesting thing about me at this point.
Or when people are like, oh, are you gonna put me on your TikTok? And I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gonna talk shit on you.
If you keep talking like that, like guess what, date boy, Chicago date boy, you got your entry right here.
and there was nothing wrong with him, like literally nothing wrong with him at all.
There's nothing wrong
but
with
for
you.
whatever reason, that just always kind of grinds my gears. If you can't think of anything more to ask me about other than just my following on social media, that to me is just a huge major red flag that you are more concerned about my presence on an app than you are about
who
like,
I actually
my
am
goals
in real life.
and my dreams and like my actual personality. You know what I
mean?
mean?
That was another thing.
So that's one of my icks, and that has come about because of being on TikTok.
Have you dealt with like people, I don't know, like not taking you seriously because you do TikTok? Like, I feel like a big problem I have is like, oh, like I make TikToks, and people making it out to be a joke, but it's like, and then they treat it like it's not really a real thing, a real career path, and then you're like, I don't want to talk about like my financial status or anything, but like it bothers me so much when people try to make a joke out of it, and it's like, what? Like, I know my last relationship, like he did not believe in my social media at all, like from the very beginning of it, like,
and that to me is a huge red flag. A huge red flag. If a guy is not fully like so supportive of what I'm doing now, and like they're embarrassed of what I'm posting, like I'm not embarrassed. So
why are you?
If you are embarrassed, that is you being insecure.
Exactly.
Like, and I don't need that.
Like, you should have every single part of me, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I just think it was really weird, and I would always be like, I wouldn't text him back sometimes because I'd be making TikToks. And this was before I was making, like, actual money on TikTok, honestly, and, like, even, like, minimum money on TikTok. And he would always, like, kind of get annoyed with me. Like, that's not a job. Like, text me back. Like, that's so annoying. You're making stupid TikToks. You're making stupid TikToks. And I look back
hate
at that.
Ew, toxic.
It's so, it makes me so mad because it's like, if I would have listened to that and just been like, oh, stupid TikToks, not worth my time, not worth my energy, like, and looked at it in that way as making stupid TikToks, I would not be where I am now. And I also look back at our relationship in the last year, and I see what I did in the last year and, like, completely reinvented myself and worked so hard to be where I am now and be in a place, like, where financially I can move away from my family, I can go buy my car, I can do whatever I want to do financially. And while he sat around making fun of me and making stupid TikToks, well, what have you done? I basically could have created a whole life for us in the last year while you sat around and did nothing. I don't know.
No, I think that's really, really interesting. It's always you can tell the guys that are intimidated by you because they deflect, you know? But another thing too is with dating on TikTok, because we share so much of our lives, I think that people always take everything so seriously.
Oh yeah, sometimes it's like dude, it was just like a simple date or something.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't that serious.
And also too, okay, so knowing that like my dating content always performs pretty well, like people are really engaged with it. It's funny when I see somebody tag me in a guy's video and they're like, oh my God, Jen, I found you another guy. And then maybe I'll like duet it.
About the duet thing that happened with you duetting that guy?
Yes. Oh wait, which guy?
Remember I feel like there's that guy like the blue shorts or whatever? What happened with
that? Yes.
People keep hating on you for some reason.
Oh my God.
A bunch of like men are my biggest haters. I will say that.
Yes.
Rarely do I. It's because it's Jenna, I hate to toot our own horns, intimidating women who know what they want in a way, and that scares that scares boys. I'll say that scares boys. Men love that shit.
Yeah.
But boys get so scared by a woman who knows what she wants, she knows her worth, she knows her value, everything.
100%.
That's why all my hate comments are from boys.
You took the words out of my mouth with that. That's literally where I was going to go.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think that I could post a video with absolutely zero intention. And people are like, oh my God, you're going to go on a date now? Are you guys dating? I'm like, dude, he literally lives across the country. No. No.
It was just something fun to do. And plus, like, you're at that point in your life where you're, like, literally in your 20s.
People are just always speculating, and I think it's so funny because I do share so much about my dating life, but when I do have somebody, like, serious in my life, I'm going to keep it private because I don't want to ruin it by involving a huge community of people who can potentially ruin it for me. You know what I mean?
I'm really concerned about what's going to happen whenever I bring a boy into my social media world, because I did, had that one boyfriend who was kind of in and out of it, and then the people who were like OGs and like knew the whole story, like they're still here today, they know it, and I think that they're kind of interested in it. But people that came along after like that whole chapter in last August like happened, don't really, I feel like, care about me and my boy situation, just because I never talk about boys on my page. So I'm like,
you really don't. Not that much.
Ever since like that whole thing happened last year, like I don't talk about boys. So I'm like, what's gonna happen when I find someone that I like or whatever, and I want to bring them back into that space? Like, how are people gonna react?
Oh, it's gonna be a field day.
I want to see, like, I want to get the speculation. I want the rumors to start. Like, low-key, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm not gonna lie, it is.
And I am in love. So if you guys want to stalk it, try to see who my boyfriend is. Go for it.
Also,
tag me in his Instagram.
On that note, I feel like we've covered so many topics, and Kennedy will probably be on anher episode just because
we have so much to talk about.
Jenna. Yeah, we really do. And this episode kind of went a completely different way than I'd expected it to. You're
gonna listen to this back and be like, we got nothing accomplished.
No, I think that people know us as the goofy girls,
Yeah.
And obviously, it's fun to make people laugh, but it's also, I think it's more important to inspire people, I guess. And I think it's really cool, even just the impact that I've had from the last episode. Like, yeah, it's still me, but it's like a different side of me.
And I agree.
I think that this is a different side of you that not a lot of people see, because you are so
goofy. Like, that's
goofy
the thing.
And funny.
And people think like you not necessarily don't have to work hard. Cause I'm not saying, oh my gosh, I was sweating blood. I worked so hard for my TikTok career. But I'm just saying, like, that motive, like that. I was motivated. Like, I knew when I started making TikToks and I had one pop off, like, holy crap, I can work on this. And, my biggest thing was, like, I posted as much content as I possibly could. And I think that's what's important, is to let people know, like, no, I didn't just get here from messing around. Like, I
talking about shitting yourself.
Yeah, but. Maybe a little bit of that, a little bit of this. But I was consistent. I feel like consistency is everything. If you really want something and you're listening to this right now, go for it. I can promise you, what's the worst that happens? You don't gain this huge following. No, go try it out. Everything. Like, I never would have thought that would happen to me. I guarantee you probably didn't think that was gonna happen to you.
Yeah. So the last thing is, and we're gonna wrap up soon because we are going to go meet our boyfriend.
Yeah.
What?
Our husband.
Huh?
Our friends. They're guys. That's all.
Oh yeah. Sorry. What did you say?
We don't really even know
them. We're gonna go meet up with them after this. But my last thing that I always want to leave all of my episodes with is recommending a fun thing during the week that that people that follow my podcast can go and do, because I think it's really important, especially coming from someone like you don't go out and party a lot.
No.
I mean, you're underage right now.
I feel like that's...
You're living in a small town, so let's hear what your suggestions are for my listeners.
This is my thing. This is what I want to do, because I have been on Jenna ever since we talked about in New York, karaoke bar. If you're watching this week and you have the opportunity to go to a karaoke bar, I feel like it's a great midweek activity. You know, you don't got to go get sloshed or anything like that. Have fun, go with some friends, and sing your hearts out. That's like my goal. I want to do karaoke so bad.
Okay, well, there you have it. So if any of you guys are looking for something to do this week, go to a karaoke bar with your girlfriends or your guy friends or whoever. Take a video, take a picture, tag me and Kennedy.
Yeah, tag us. I want to see this.
It's so fun to see people, like, partake in it.
And if you're not doing it, you're fake. No,
we literally feel like I'm friends every time I see somebody
I know,
tag
when people tag me in videos or pictures or something on Instagram stories, they'll be like, got these gold hoops because of you or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like, we know each other like that. It's like,
seriously.
Cool.
It's such a cool moment. But on that note, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to follow Kennedy, go ahead, take it away with your usernames.
Well, you know what? If you want to follow me on TikTok, it's at Eurich. You know what? Then I'll put it in the caption. You know, because spelling it out, I just feel like it's difficult.
I don't know if there is a caption on Spotify.
KEN.EURICH on TikTok, and then just no dot on my Instagram. Just Ken Eurich on Instagram.
And she's tagged in my on my pictures on my podcast page too. So
if you really want to find me, you'll probably find me. If you don't, just ignore it.
Go find her. She'll give you a good laugh. But on that note, have a great week, everybody. Happy Tuesday, and I'll see y'all next week.
Bye, y'all.